Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Backtrack Cinema. My name is Jason, and in this video, we'll be ranking my top 10 favorite films from 1986. So get some popcorn, get a drink, get comfy, and let's talk films from 1986. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Backtrack Cinema. My name is Jason, and if you like movies of the past, then you are at the right channel. And today we're going to be going through my top 10 films of 1986. So comment down below what are some of your favorite films from 1986. You know, it doesn't matter what genre. We're doing horror, we're doing action, we're putting everything in the mix. That's my top 10 films from 1986. I haven't seen everything from 1986, so you know, not everything will be on this list. You might be thinking, why wasn't that on there? Most likely because I haven't seen it, if it's that good. But, you know, comment down below, let me know what your favorites are, and let's get on with the ranking. But coming at number 10 is Cobra.
This is where the law stops, and I start.
You know, Stallone always makes a list. He always seems to get put on that ranking. And number 10, Cobra. I like this flick. I've grown. This wasn't one of my favorite Stallone flicks as a kid, but the past 5 years or so, I've been watching this one more and more. I like how Stallone is doing his version of Dirty Harry, basically. You know, criminals, this cult of people who think they're superior beings, and they're out there, you know, this killing everyone, killing anyone who's imperfect, I guess, in their eyes. And it's a war out there for like Marion Cobretti and people on the zombie squad, where the killers are getting away with everything because they plead insanity. You know, they know how to play to the courts. And it's like Stallone says in it, so we keep playing by these bullshit rules, we're going to lose. So I like that. I like the slasher aspect to it. It's an action movie, but it's also got this like slasher horror tone to it at times. And of course, Stallone is great in it, as always. The action is great. I really love his car in this. I think his car is absolutely freaking awesome in this, and all the stunt work that happens, you know, when he's in his car. You know, I love when he's shooting out of the back of the truck. You know, it's got these campy one-liners, but Stallone always seems to pull that kind of stuff off. So Cobra's just a good time on a Sunday afternoon to watch a classic action film. At number 9, we got Karate Kid Part 2. I love the Karate Kid Part 2. I think it's one of the better sequels out there, to the point that I think I like this one more than the original. They flesh out Mr. Miyagi and Daniel LaRusso's relationship a lot more. We see it in a completely different setting, and going back to Okinawa, where Mr. Miyagi's from. And I think it's more of a Mr. Miyagi movie. I think he's more of the focus, and Daniel Bit is the supporting character. But so I like how they kind of flip that. You know what I mean? It just makes for an interesting story, expanding. Sequels got to expand on what we already know, right? And in this time, it's not a tournament fight. I mean, this time, like Miyagi says, you know, he does a real fight. He's fighting to the death. He's fighting for honor. And it's like, this no tournament, Daniel. This is for real. And I just love that. And there's a lot of themes on here on forgiveness and revenge. Miyagi had this old buddy named Sato, and he felt like he got dishonored, so he wanted to fight Miyagi, and Miyagi got out of there. He wouldn't fight. And it's kind of like the Cobra Kai Johnny LaRusso kind of rivalry. This, you know, you see it in Karate Kid Part 2 here. I think a great villain in Chosen. I think Chosen's hilarious in this. I think he's a great villain for Daniel LaRusso. You know, he can be downright like freaking, you know, vicious, right? This guy. And why Miyagi's there is that his father has died. He gets there and his father's dying. You see his father die, and then you get this, you know, echo of Daniel LaRusso. You know, his father died, and Miyagi kind of became his father. And now you got kind of like Daniel teaching him, you know, what it's like. You know, I've been there losing my father and stuff like that. And I think it's a more emotional movie, this movie. And I think the fight at the end is really, really, really well done, because it's just more vicious. It's more brutal. It's not a tournament. I think this one has really good characters, and like I said, the setting, right? Karate Kid Part 2 is excellent, man. Excellent flick. At number 8 is Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Bueller. Bueller. Bueller.
Ferris Bueller is just a great character, and the way Matthew Broderick played him, I think he really towed a really good line, because this character could have been very annoying. And maybe to some people he is annoying, but I think Matthew Broderick just played it well. He knew the character he was playing. And John Hughes directing and writing is fantastic in this. I just love seeing this character go through these antics and everything, and trying to get away with taking this day off. And he's really taking it off for his friend Cameron.
The question isn't what are we going to do. The question is what aren't we going to do.
Don't say we're not going to take the car home. Please don't say we're not going to take the car home. Please don't.
If you had access to a car like this, would you take it back right away? Neither would I.
Cameron is this character who's been pushed around by his dad his whole life. When he takes this day off with Ferris Bueller, right? They take his old man's car, and then something happens where the car gets smashed. It gets wrecked, and this forces Cameron that he actually got to face his dad and start dealing with problems, right? And Ferris has seen this as his best friend, and I really like that aspect of the movie. I mean, Ferris didn't need to take that day off. He did it for his buddy, and I think that it's fantastic. John Hughes always has a really big heart to his movies, and this one's no different. Coming at number 7 is Stand By Me.
I'll see you. If I see you first.
Stand By Me is adapted from a Stephen King novel. This movie is just coming of age stories that never gets dull. It's a classic. The characters are great. We see Richard Dreyfuss telling this story of when he was a kid, where they all go out and camp out to find this dead body. They're all curious about what that would look like. They just bond and they just go through some stuff. And our main character, Gordy, his older brother died, we find out, and his parents have pretty much just forgotten about him. And so he's going through some stuff. All the characters go through some stuff, and they let stuff out, and it's just a great cast. Kiefer Sutherland as the bad guy is the bully guy, the one who's after them and stuff like that. He's such a great bad guy. I love Kiefer Sutherland. And the one line at the end, I've never had friends like I did when I was 12 or something like that. It was such a great line and some philosophy to it. You know what I mean? Just, it's really true when you think back. You never quite have those kind of friends again. It's about that. It's about being a kid to a man, that transition, that growing up kind of thing. And, a lot of people really relate to this movie, and it's because it's the great characters, great real characters. You know what I mean? Coming at number 6 is Critters. I love Critters. This is a great B-movie sci-fi. I don't get tired of it. I got this one over Gremlins. I love Dee Wallace as the mom in here. These critters taking over this family's farmhouse, and really about this family have to stick together. They got to bond together, and the kids end up, saving the day. The kids, save the parents. I ain't gonna lie, it's dated with its practical effects and everything, but I still think the movie works. The bounty hunters can look pretty ridiculous, but I still think they're hilarious. This is a movie that's cheesy, but it's really good cheese. You know what I mean? It still works for me. I still love having a blast with this movie. I will admit this movie is very nostalgic for me, because I remember going to see this in the theaters when I was just a little kid. My dad taking me. It was this one or Critters 2. I can't really remember. Sci-fi, B-movie horror, absolutely love it. And we love Dee Wallace, right? Dee Wallace is always good in these kind of roles. And like I said before, it does have something a little to say about this kid who's always in trouble, causing mayhem, and he ends up saving the day. He ends up maturing and taking care of business, you know what I mean? So I guess that aspect of the movie I love. And when they're shooting these critters with the shotgun and stuff, and then the critters start laughing and they got this laugh to them. It's just eating everything all over the freaking place. It's just fantastic. I love Critters. So if you like this video so far, guys, why not give it a subscribe and give it a like? I would really appreciate it very much. Coming at number 5 is Crossroads.
You're really gonna miss her.
A man with a whole lot of sense said, blues ain't nothing but a good man feeling bad, thinking about the woman he once was with.
So this is from Ralph Macchio, Jamie Gertz, 1986, obviously. A cult classic kind of movie directed by Walter Hill that a lot of people don't I think a lot of people haven't seen, maybe, all about this music prodigy. This Ralph Macchio plays this music prodigy at a Juilliard where he studies classical music and stuff. And he also loves the blues. So this is a movie about his love for the blues. And he's looking for Robert Johnson, this great blues guitar singer's last song that he recorded, or a song he wrote but never recorded. So he finds an old harmonica player who traveled with Robert, who might have known what it is. And so he has to break him out of an old age home, and it's a road movie. They go down the Mississippi, and he learns what blues is really. He doesn't learn by playing blues from a book or listening to an old tape. He lives the blues. He ends up learning it and living it. Traveling on the road like they used to do, hoboing like they used to do, and just the comedy dynamic between Ralph Macchio and Joe Seneca, who plays Willie Brown, is hilarious.
Long Island, the famous breeding ground for bluesmen. Oh, man, look at this shit. Here we go. A little soul from the Golden Ghetto. Where you learn to play them pussy chords in music school?
He's just a miserable old goat, man. Just the one-liners in this movie are just absolutely fantastic. He's always razzing him about his blues playing all the time, saying, you can't make the train talk, boy. And then there's this great guitar duel at the end. There's these religious overtones with it, making deals with the devil and stuff like that. So Ralph Macchio's got to do this guitar head-cutting contest with the devil's prodigy kind of thing, which is Steve Vai, great guitar player from the 80s. A shredder and a technical wizardry at the guitar. The duel is awesome. It's one of the greatest scenes ever, man. If you haven't seen Crossroads, I highly recommend you check it out. It's a blast. It's a blast. It's a cult classic, and it's the movie that inspired me to pick up the guitar. Once I watched this, I wanted to be a blues player, and I've been playing guitar ever since. So, an inspiring movie. And I'm not the only one. There's a lot of guitar players who've been inspired by this movie, either by the blues aspect or by the Steve Vai kind of guitar playing, the neoclassical kind of stuff. So it's fantastic. I recommend you guys watch Crossroads. Coming at number 4 is Big Trouble in Little China.
It's where Big Trouble was waiting for Jack Burton.
Who? Jack Burton. Me.
This is the John Carpenter classic. This is his, martial arts fantasy kind of film. And, it's the character of Kurt Russell, Jack Burton. He is awesome in this. He carries this whole film. I don't even want to call him a hero because this guy screws up every time he gets into a fight. He's got this John Wayne thing about him, the way he talks and everything, but he does nothing right. It's actually his buddy Wang is the one who's fighting all the bad guys and dealing with all the trouble that they have to deal with. But I love Jack. That's why I like Jack Burton so much. Is this he talks a big game and everything, but he ends up doing nothing right. Until at the end where he actually kills the main bad guy, and he did something very right with all the reflexes, by throwing the freaking knife in the guy's head. I absolutely love it. The comedy is so good in this. It's dated with a lot of things, but I just love the character. I love the comedy in it. The martial arts scene where the two Chinese gangs are out there in the streets killing each other is fantastic. I think that still holds up. John Carpenter, he really knows how to cut a fight scene, man. He really can cut a fight scene. The movie really feels like a video game. It feels like we're going from one level to the next, hitting this boss, then this boss. It's got this video game feel to this whole thing to me, to this whole movie, and it's just which I like. I think it's kind of campy and cheesy, but it's one of those great movies from the 80s. That's a cult classic. That's entertaining. It's engaging. I love it. Hell of a score. Love the score, like all Carpenter movies in this. Love it. Coming at number 3 is The Fly.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Now, in a time where movies were getting campier and cheesier, The Fly didn't. The Fly took a real grounded, visceral approach. Seeing Jeff Goldblum, do this experiment, turn into this housefly is just, It's disgusting. It's revolting. It's really hard to watch at times. And in the way Cronenberg just makes you watch, he shows you all the imagery. You know what I mean? He leaves some stuff. He doesn't really leave too much for the imagination. Um, he really wanted to show you the grotesqueness and really made you feel, because it's also a love story. There's this love story that's happening between him and Gina Davis, and when he starts turning into this fly, you know, it's really heartfelt. And then when she has to kill him at the end, right? It's heartbreaking as hell, man. And she did like take after take after take after take. Her eyes were all swollen and red from crying and everything. She just went for it. I love actors who just go for it. You know what I mean? Just really go for that emotion. And that's what you feel in this movie. You really feel that emotion. Practical effects, absolutely amazing. At the end where Jeff Goldblum gets fused with the pod, so he's like this metal pod in this fly. Oh man, it's just grotesque, man. Absolutely revolting, man. Where's the garbage can? I need to puke. It's pretty fantastic film, guys. And I like that moment where the fly part is taking over, and he does this monologue. One of the greatest monologues about, the fly is awake and the man's going to sleep. The man's not here no more. About insect politics. Insects don't have politics. They are cruel and they're brutal, and they will do anything to survive. It's such a tremendous scene with that music going on. I absolutely love The Fly. The Fly's fantastic. Coming in at number 2 is Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives.
Yeah, that really scared the shit out of me.
This is absolutely my favorite Friday the 13th movie. I've loved this movie ever since I was a little kid. It was my very first horror movie. It was my gateway into being the horror fan I am today. I love Jason in this. I love the old school Universal monster feel to the whole thing. Like, if you put this in black and white and showed this to a 40s audience, wouldn't that have been something? That people have been running out the freaking theater, man. That opening scene alone, there's a way to resurrect a villain. This is the way to do it. The way they resurrect him. Nightmare on Elm Street 4 is not the way to resurrect the iconic villain. But yeah, I love this. For the most part, the kills are all really good. I love the atmosphere. All the shots in the woods and the exterior shots are really great. You get this blend of comedy in this one that they were going for that I think really works. I like it. I think it's entertaining as hell, because when it goes dark and serious, it will stay there. You know what I mean? But it does have some of this slapstick, definitely a precursor to Scream with the meta in it. Jason and Tommy, facing off at the end and finally ending this curse, putting Jason back to where he first drowned. What a great way to end a film. If the series would have ended here, I would have been happy with that. I think that's a perfect ending. I think it's a perfect ending for Jason. And Tom Matthews as Tommy Jarvis. That's my Tommy. This is my Tommy. I love this character, and seeing him in, Never Hike Alone and Never Hike Alone 2 coming out has been great to see this character come back in in fan film. And so that's also really nice and exciting. But yeah, I mean, I could sit here all day and talk about this movie, guys, but just love it. I absolutely love this flick. But before I give you my number 1, here are 5 honorable mentions.
What kind of beer do you like? Heineken? Fuck that shit! Pabst Blue Ribbon!
Nick, give him your wallet.
What for?
He's got a knife.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Eat me. Does it have to be human? Eat me. Does it have to be mine? Eat me. Where am I supposed to get it? Feed me, Seymour. Feed me all night long.
Hi.
So you're the finder of lost children.
Oh, you must have saw me on television. Yeah, I like working with children.
Hey, Shannon! Come on, will you, okay?
Shut up!
What did she do? Come to you, tell you that she was your mother? She was crazy, Norman, but she wasn't your mother. Neither are you!
But coming in at number 1 is James Cameron's Aliens. What James Cameron did here with Aliens, he went for a more action style kind of film. It has all the horror elements too. Alien 1 to Aliens is kind of like Terminator 1 to T2. It's kind of got that same vibe. And you know, a lot of people love Alien for that atmosphere and that and the horror, the slasher-esque to it. But I'm an Aliens fan, man. I love this movie. I think Ripley's character arc is fantastic in this. You know, Ripley's got this PTSD and, you know, she's having nightmares all the time. She's been lost to space for like 50 some odd years. She's lost everyone close to her, lost her daughter. So she goes back. She ends up going back into the nest, let's say, going back into where these creatures, these aliens, going back into the fight, kind of like a Vietnam vet. Like going back into Vietnam, you know how traumatic that might be when after they were sent home, dealing with this PTSD straight on. And man, when she finds her rhythm, she is a badass. She is one of the best final girls ever, you know. And you bring Newt into this. She adopts Newt almost like her daughter. So you got at this end, you got this like this mother alien versing off with Ripley, who's kind of become this mother again because she's looking after Newt, a second chance at motherhood. And you got Mama Bear against Mama Bear, man, and it's fantastic. The dialogue's great. The characters, though, James Cameron has a really good knack for characters, and all these characters, all the side characters are great, like Hudson and Hicks and Vasquez and, you know, Pone, and all these characters are so great in this. The action is great. Once he steps on that gas pedal, he doesn't let it off. The creatures look great. The xenomorphs, they look amazing. And just one of the best sequels of all time, man. And just a fantastic film all around. And Sigourney Weaver even got nominated for an Oscar for this movie. And this is like a sci-fi action film. I don't think that's very often you get a nod from the Oscars for a movie like this.
God damn it, that's not all. Because if one of those things gets down here, then that will be all. Then all this bullshit that you think is so important, you can just kiss all of that goodbye.
You know, Sigourney Weaver she plays this character so well. She's meant to play Ripley, you know what I mean? She's just a character she was meant to play. And I absolutely love her in this. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So those are my top 10 films from 1986, guys. Let me know what your favorite film is, or your top 10 from 1986, or just a few. Let me know in the comments. We'll have a good discussion about that. And here is other related content that you guys can watch. My name is Jason. You're watching Backtrack Cinema. I will see you on the next video, and I will see you in the movies. Cheers.